What's going on, everybody? Dr. Freeman here, and we live in such a world. At least in the U.S., I can't vouch for as far as other parts, other countries and things like that. But in the U.S., we are so driven by media, by popularity, by clicks, and you see it all the time, all around you. And this is a conversation about using that thing between your shoulders, that noggin that you got up there. Make sure you think for yourselves. Don't just follow what the news is saying, or the popular kid at school is saying, or whatever the fad happens to be. Make sure you actually stop for a moment, think about it. Does this make sense? Is this right? Is this really the way it is, or is this just what somebody wants me to believe? Is this their agenda? And I'm going to use a couple examples here. One, I'm going to talk about weed, and the other one, I'm going to talk about cars. And now before people kind of freak out or anything, this isn't a proponent of me saying, yo, go smoke weed or anything like that. But now we all know through the past couple of years, in a few states between medical marijuana and even in Colorado, there has been the legalization of recreational use marijuana. Now, recently, they've talked about, how they're going to tax it, where the money's going to go to and everything like that. And they came out and they were like, all right, cool. We're going to tax it and we're going to generate over $70 million just for school aid. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, oh man, that's cool. That's a lot of money going, to the teachers, to programs, to, books, computers, fixing auditoriums, all this different stuff. But then immediately you started hearing this uprising, this uproar of people. Oh my God, they're using drug money to, facilitate our kids to schools. That's horrible. That's immoral. That's illogical. Like all this stuff. And news reporters started, commenting on it, and it just got around about how horrible this was, that they were going to use taxed money for something that was legal in their state to help kids produce a better get a better education and all this other stuff, and produce a better quality of life for them at school, whether it's foods or books or chairs or whatever it might be. And when I first heard these people getting so pissed off about this, the first thing that I thought of, I took a minute and I was a little kind of blown back by it at first. I'm wondering if they ever thought about liquor, alcohol, and cigarettes. Alcohol and cigarettes, especially cigarettes, are taxed so heavy in this nation. So heavy in this nation. We tax the crap out of this stuff, and the roads that we drive on, some public libraries, public parks that you go play basketball at, or families walk their kids through, schools, the books, the auditoriums, the stuff that's being rebuilt. Where do they think that money is coming from? And especially in the cigarettes case, where it's taxed anywhere between 50% and more. It's that there's massive taxes on this stuff, and that stuff is horrible for people. It's killing people. I mean, how many people do you know that have been seriously hurt by whether it's cigarettes or alcohol? I know me personally, my grandmother was an alcoholic. My grandfather on my other side was an alcoholic. My father, who I love very, very much, he's lost his life to alcoholism. But they're complaining about something that was voted by the general population that is now legal to supply information, knowledge, and supplies for a better quality of life for these kids at school. That to me is absolutely ridiculous. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is, as far as using your brain, make sure you think before you just follow what the media says and what all these, whether it's a celebrity or something, these mainstream people talk about. Energy and cars and things like that. Cars in general, they produce a ton of CO2 emissions, right? So Toyota came out and they make this Prius, and you see a ton of people wanting to drive the Prius, the hybrids, things like that. And especially in the in the celebrity market, oh well, I drive a Prius, I'm helping to make this earth better. Okay, cool. I understand that you're taking that step, and people automatically will jump on that bandwagon. Oh, the Prius, it's amazing, it's this and that. However you want to look at it. Toyota themselves have come out and admitted that the production of their Prius requires more energy and emits more carbon dioxide than production of its gas-only models. And this is because they have parts all around the world that have to get shipped to one plant to get put together. And then on top of that, the batteries, all the nickel, what is it, the nickel and the lithium ion batteries that they have, the copper mines and things like that have to get extracted. That takes emissions, that takes gasoline producing and diesel using massive pieces of equipment to take this stuff out. This is producing a ton of CO2 emissions. When the cars finally die, those batteries, they don't just get thrown in a landfill and decompose like a paper cup or something like that. They sit there for years, polluting, just spewing their toxic into the environment. Now, I'm not saying, oh my God, Prius is the worst car in the world. No, not at all. But what I'm saying is kind of just think about it for a moment. There's a car that Honda made that is so much better, and they produced this a while ago. And granted, you can't buy this everywhere. You can buy it in, I believe, California. There's parts of California where you can buy it, and I'm sure they want to ship it in more places. But I'll get there. They produce this car. It's called the Clarity. Now, it's an electric car. Well, how's that any different than the Prius, you might ask? It's very, very different. There is no batteries. Now, the way they do this is on the front of the car, they have an electric engine, right? And it produces the power for the front tire, so it's a front-wheel drive car. And the nice thing about electric is it produces a ton of torque, so that it has that power to move this car. But the way they get around no batteries is in the back, where, you know, around where your trunk space is. They have a very small, it's a hydrogen engine, and it takes hydrogen, so the only byproduct is water. Well, that hydrogen engine is what produces the power for the electric, so it's always on demand. So if you have a Prius, say you drive a couple hundred miles or however far they go, now you need to, you know, fuel up. If you want to keep going, you got to plug it in. Anywhere between 6 to 18 hours later, you can keep going. If you have this Clarity, this hydrogen engine or powered vehicle, you can stop at a pump that offers this type of fuel. You fill up, it takes a couple minutes, and you're on the go again. So it's just like a gasoline or diesel engine, and it gives you that freedom to continue to move. Anyway, this is just kind of whatever happens to come your way, make sure you just take 5 seconds, think about the information that was just produced to you, then make a decision on it. Don't just, you know, jump right at it. Think about it first. Is this the right decision? Is what's being given to me, does that make sense? Anyways, this is Dr. Freeman. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.